Recently, we've heard a lot of misinformation around just the finance space in general. So we gathered a few of these common myths or common comments we hear from people that we want to quickly debunk so you don't go around saying this or just believing this incorrect
Yeah.
information. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.
All right, starting out with number one, I don't need to save for retirement yet. I'm so young. That is simply not the case. And if you've seen some of our previous videos, we've talked about the power of compounding. Well, that is the case in retirement. Time is literally money in this sense because the power of compounding just makes your money grow that much quicker over time. Time is the most important factor. So the earlier you start, the better off you are. Because if you wait longer, the more you're going to have to save and the more of a burden it's going to be later on down the road.
There's so many examples of people that start at 20 and invest till they're 30 and then never invest again.
Yeah.
And then someone that starts at 30 and invests till they're 65. The person that started at 20, simply because they started so soon, they made more money in the end or had more money in retirement than the one that started at 30 all the way to 65. That's huge. It's a crazy, it's just concept to visualize and understand, but
Yeah.
It's so true. Just because you're young and you're not going to retire for a while, you still should start your retirement early as possible.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Myth number 2, all debt is bad. There is definitely bad debt out there. I wouldn't run around and getting a new car loan. I don't want to get personal loans in my name all the time.
Yeah.
However, there is good debt. Good debt is when you use debt as a tool to leverage to buy something that could benefit you in terms of buying a house or a rental property, in terms of buying a business, in terms of investing in yourself in a business. All of those things, to me, are good debt.
Yeah.
And that because it's going to spiral hopefully into more and more money in the future to help him basically return on investment and you're investing in yourself with good debt.
Yeah. Now, don't confuse yourself and be like, oh, this brand new luxury sports car is part of my brand and, it's going to help me this way. You got to be honest with yourself in this and be aware that, debt can be dangerous if you don't manage it properly. And kind of going along right with that, guys, is there's this common misconception that it's normal to have a lot of debt. You shouldn't really normalize having debt. The reality is most people do, student loans, mortgages, all this builds up, obviously, and a lot of people do have debt.
Car loans.
Yeah, but don't think like, oh, everyone has debt. Let me just throw another car on, let me just buy this new car because like everyone's dealing with it. Well, while that may be the case, the goal is to pay that off and have as little debt as possible. So don't kind of normalize it in a sense like it is frankly normal, but don't be like, oh, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I've heard it so many times. People say debt's just a way of life nowadays.
Yeah.
People's salaries didn't keep up with inflation, so debt's just how it is. And while, again, debt you will probably face one way or other. That's why we always push for good credit scores and being responsible with your money. However, you don't have to go out of your way and, oh, since we all have debt, let me just get the new car. Like, you don't have to go out of your way and build that debt anyways.
Exactly.
Another common myth is that we've heard this coming swirling around a couple of different places, but that carrying a balance on your credit card is good for your credit score.
Yeah.
That is not the case. The only thing that carrying a balance is good for is making the banks money because you're paying them interest in the end. And so we want you at the end of the month or every week. Our friend this weekend we were hanging out with, one of them told me that they pay it every single day. Set a reminder to pay it every single day. And they make sure they never ever carry a balance. And that's great. You won't pay interest. Credit cards can be great because they can build the points. We talked about that in plenty of videos. But for this case, carrying a balance does nothing but help the bank.
Yeah. And we made a video on kind of what makes up a credit score. So check that out. We go into a bit more detail, but it goes into your credit utilization and everything. So I'm not even really sure where that misconception came from, but I have heard it a few times. And
logically, it doesn't make sense for that reason as well.
So we just wanted to put that out there. That is not the case.
Yes.
And one final myth we wanted to touch on, guys, is this is one that you used to hear a lot back in the day, and some people still have this misconception that investing is only for the rich. We're investing right now, and I wouldn't consider ourselves rich by any means. So it's something that you can do to achieve that means. You don't have to start out rich or anything. It doesn't require a super high, entrance threshold or anything. There are varying levels and different types of investments. So, you could really dive into it deep in every which way. But if you have an interest in investing, don't be all afraid. Be like, it's just not for me. I'm maybe not smart enough. I don't have enough money. You got to start somewhere. Everyone does.
I'll wait till I'm older. Like we talked about, a common myth. Yeah, definitely. Investing's not for the rich. investing is how you get rich.
Mm-hmm.
And even if your goal isn't to get rich, you still want to have money in retirement, no matter who you are. You want to be able to retire from your job. Even if you want to work till you're 65, that's fine. And then you retire and have some money. That makes sense. But if you're not investing, you won't have that. You can't save your way to this infinite retirement. It won't work. It just historically won't work. It shows it.
But we appreciate you guys tuning in. You know, if you have any other misconceptions or maybe just questions like, is this true? Is it not? I've kind of heard some rumblings about this. Feel free to drop it down in the comments. We'll definitely address it.
And we'd love to see you on all of our other social media, on our TikTok, on our Instagram, on our Twitter, or I guess X, formerly Twitter. Definitely check us out. We'd love to communicate with you guys and build this community we're trying to build.
Yeah, so we appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to tune in next week.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.